I was standing where the old mountain dam used to hold steady, now just a wild torrent tearing through the shiny new houses the HOA had illegally planted on the land my grandfather left me. And if you're wondering how I ended up flooding an entire subdivision with nobody able to stop me, it really began the day they decided they could steal what wasn't theirs. When my grandfather died, he left me his land open fields, dense woods, and the dam he built with his own hands after surviving a devastating flood, and for a while my life was peaceful until a crisp white letter from an HOA I'd never joined politely announced that my property had been folded into their development. At the next town meeting, a slick guy unveiled new maps that magically swallowed my inheritance. And that's when I met Karen, the HOA president whose fake sympathy barely hid her arrogance. Soon surveyors trampled my fields, neon flags stabbed the earth, and bulldozers ripped through the pasture where my grandfather once taught me to ride. 58 houses went up fast, and every official I turned to either avoided me or brushed me off while Karen smiled like she'd already won. So I pretended to surrender, letting them think they'd beaten me while I quietly documented every violation, every lie, every reckless change they made to drainage channels and floodplains they didn't understand. The worst came when they gouged into the outer wall of the dam, not enough to break it immediately, but enough to ensure it would fail under the right storm. I didn't sabotage it, I simply stopped fixing what they damaged, letting nature and gravity do what they always do when pride tries to overrule the mountain. Rainy season arrived and the cracks widened. Water pooled where their poor planning left no drains, and the ground shifted beneath homes still waiting for their first inhabitants. Then the storm hit, the one that pushed the old dam past its limit, and with a deep groan the wall gave way, releasing a roaring surge that tore through Willow Ridge, ripping up trees, swallowing streets, crumpling houses, and finally toppling Karen's grand monument to her own ego. Afterward came the chaos, stunned emergency crews, reporters hunting a villain, investigations unearthing every shady deal the HOA had buried, and insurance companies denying every claim while lawsuits devoured what little the board had left. Karen lost everything and vanished into whatever quiet corner would still tolerate her, while the rest of the HOA scattered under the weight of subpoenas and public disgrace. Meanwhile, I moved patiently, filing for adverse possession until the ruined development legally reverted to me. I rebuilt the dam with help from old-timers who still remembered what the land was supposed to be, let the wild grass reclaim the streets, restored the creeks to their rightful paths, and raised a carved wooden sign that said simply, "Welcome to Highwater Acres. We respect the land here." On the first morning after finishing it, I sat on the rebuilt crest of the dam with my coffee, watching the valley glow under the rising sun, the scars of Willow Ridge fading back into the earth. I thought of my grandfather's stubborn hands, the flood that once destroyed everything, the one that returned everything to me, and of Karen clinging to bitterness somewhere far away. She built her kingdom on lies. I rebuilt mine on memory and patience, and as the mountain hummed quietly beneath me, I knew the land would endure as long as someone still listened.